result, we were forced into...
That was her motive? I'm not the only one with...
Huh?
That's... What? Because you see, their... cake is covering the body.
Shoot! I got it! You're talking about the tarp, aren't you?
You catch on quick. You're right. In fact, the dirt pattern on only one side of the tarp got dirty. Besides this group...
But why would they go to all that effort just to keep the body from getting wet?
Most likely so they could cloud the issue of when the murder, in other words, to create...
Wait.
And what might that... By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was the spring at the underside of it was totally spot because that side was picked since it was facing down. Of course it didn't
get dirty!
Covering the body, killer prevents.
So the reason that the sprinkler got that, but the underside, it was totally split because that side was picked since it was facing. Of course
it didn't get dirty.
No, it's wrong. One side being clean is pretty strange if you think about it. Because the blood wasn't dry before the body got blown up, right? Yakuya said it himself. Not to touch it, or you might get some on you. If you put a tarp on a body in that state.
Well, maybe the culprit... If they had, they would have washed both sides.
Oh! More than that, what if the very blood we saw on... What if, after the killer, they then covered the body in blood that... You mean someone else's?
I know! They could have grabbed some of the blood packs from the nurse's office! That's what Hifumi did, right?
No, the killer got the blood from right there in the garden.
Shoot! Shoot! I got it! Could it have been chicken blood?
What? Chicken blood?
When I checked the chicken coop before, but after the murder, there were only...
So, we're sick mad. That's messed up.
Killing a living thing just to do something like that is awful. They should have at least eaten it. I wonder if the killer had to get the blood anyway. There's no denying.
Perhaps, but even so, there's one thing that still doesn't make sense. You said the culprit used the tarp to avoid the water and then covered the body in blood, right? But if that's the case, then the blood should have soaked into the ground around the body. But that's the ground.
I have to maybe when you discovered the bone.
Wait, no!
Then that settles it. Sorry. Here's what happened. But the body didn't get wet because the killer covered it with the tarp. Then, later, at the same time the killer, they pulled the coat over the body. But this series of they wanted us to think the
If that's actually what took place, it certainly becomes...
But wouldn't they have had to go that actually, huh? They'd be done in no time.
Maybe, but still.
Hina, after you met up with Makoto, oh no, then he had plenty of...
That's not...
Don't bother saying it's not possible.
I must admit, Kyoko's reasoning is sound. Makoto's alibi is inadequate. Well then, it looks like we're back to square one. Makoto's alibi is no good.
For serious? Hey, why don't we let luck decide?
Oh!
See?
No, not that.
Well, don't just stand there.
You know that knife we found?
The one we found stuck in the body before it exploded. According to the Monokuma file? So, what about it?
I'm pretty sure I'd see. That's what I.
It's the knife we gave to Makoto?
You don't seem surprised.
Yeah. It's not that I hid it. It's just...
Shit, the knife we found stuck in the body came from Makoto. Now I'm totally convinced he did it. 12,000% convinced.
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one that you gave
It really is, isn't it?
If you did have that, that seals it.
Just because I'm that automatic.
Well, didn't stack, so there's no point. You took that knife off.
Horrible man you are. The knife we found.
It's the same one.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, that seals it.
Makoto, just because I had that automatically, well,
Getting stabbed.
It is what killed him.
no, it's wrong. Wait, hold on. That should be clear from the description of the cover-up we just heard.
Lies! We never talked about what killed her.
No, don't you remember? The killer covered the dead body with the top. In other words, the victim never wore that blood-stained coat until...
Okay, fine. So what?
So... the knife had been thrust... Meaning, if she wasn't stabbed until the coat was put on, and she was already dead at that point... Obviously, the stab wound isn't what killed her.
Maybe you stabbed
gun! The Monokuma file clearly states that there was only one stab wound.
Oh yeah, it sure did.
Then the knife...
Was just another piece of They probably exploding the body afterward was probably meant to do the same thing. The explosion severely damaged was all the killer's attempt to destroy all evidence of...
So they meant for us to latch onto the knife as the cause of death, then destroy any evidence proving otherwise.
Hey, I have a question. What's the deal with that explosion anyway?
If you bothered to put that lump of gray matter between your ears to use, you'd know the answer.
Well, if you're so smart, just tell me.